Hello everyone, today is another declutter video. I have started with my foundations and I'm leaving that all down below. There's a playlist. If you're new to this series, please use the playlist. It's probably the easiest way to get around. Today we're going to be talking about primers, so we're going to be decluttering my primers. I will give you a quick summary of all the primers that I'm getting rid of. Let's get to it and just start decluttering. Let's start with this guy because this is an easy toss. Not because I don't like it, but because it's actually all gone, all done. I can't get much out. I was a pretty avid user of this particular product. This is Soft Light Blurring Primer from Physicians Formula, and I actually really like it. I would consider repurchasing it even, but I am, as you know, probably if you're watching my channel, really not loyal at all to any kind of line or product, and I'm always interested in trying something else because I get bored with products, hence why the cluttered space that I have because of products. So Soft Light Blurring Primer from Physicians Formula was actually quite nice. It is to me quite similar to the Becca Spotlight. No, this is the Spotlight Backlight. Anyway, Becca has a very similar primer. It's a bit smoothing, a bit illuminating, a bit of everything. It's just a lovely texture. This is kind of similar. So if you are on a budget, maybe Physicians Formula is going to be a better bet for you, although Physicians Formula, unfortunately, is really not that cheap either. But I did enjoy it. I would consider repurchasing it. It is, however, obviously a toss because there's barely anything at all left in there. So in the back is going to be tosses, and in the front are going to be keeps, and then we'll reconvene afterwards. Very similarly, we have this Juice Beauty The Organic Solution Phyto-Pigments Illuminating Primer, which I am using very actively right now. As you can see, I have used up half of it already, which is quite impressive. I tend to hyperfixate on a primer I like and just kind of go through it. This is Illuminating Primer 01 Luminous. I think they have more than one color. I really like this. This is my second bottle. I've purchased one. The first one I used up maybe a year and a half ago. I've purchased with my own money, and then this one Juice Beauty sent to me graciously. However, I do have to say that they sent me more than one product. They sent me also the CC cream, which I did not like at all, but this Phyto-Pigments Illuminating Primer is really quite lovely. It is illuminating, which is obvious because it has all these lovely pearlescent pigments in there, which don't look like shimmer or glitter in any way. They lay very nicely over the skin, and this does prolong the wear of my other products that I apply to my face somehow. It is not that moisturizing. It is rather a primer that kind of creates a film over your face, kind of a protective shield almost. That's what it feels like. It does create a bit of a luminescent, healthy skin look. I really, really like it. I would consider purchasing this again. This is not done yet. I will probably finish it up completely. So I really enjoy it. I think it's a wonderful primer. I would recommend it if you want something really moisturizing, but with a similar effect on the skin. The Spotlight is going to be better. It has a little bit more of that hydration action. The Juice Beauty is really not that hydrating, but it does make your makeup last better and look better over time. So lovely, lovely, lovely. I'm keeping it. This is interesting. I have two very illuminating, very luminous primers. One is by VDL. It's Lumi Layer Primer. It expires in 2021, so I probably should get to it after I finish the Phyto-Pigments one. I think what really pushed me over the edge with that one is Hannah Louise Poston, who loves this thing. And it is a very pretty purple tinted, which I really like. It's nice for dull skin. Purple tinted primer. I usually wear it on its own, meaning that I will wear the primer and then spot conceal and then leave it alone and not do anything else. But this is quite a find. I enjoy it. I haven't used it enough to completely have an opinion about it. I'm keeping it. It's a nice primer, and it is really very similar to the Juice Beauty in terms of the effect it creates. Lumi Layer is more pearlescent and cool toned, and Juice Beauty is pearlescent and champagne toned. They're both wonderful. Keeping that one. And the other one that I'm going to be keeping, because I really haven't used it enough to know what I think of it, is the Glossier Future Dew Oil Serum Hybrid. I purchased it for the dead of winter when my skin is hungry for moisture. And I think it probably will work well. This is a very new purchase. I have barely at all worn it. I think I've worn it maybe once or twice. It has this a really pretty finish where it looks completely and totally like dewy skin. Very, very nice. So I have not formed my opinion about it quite yet because I haven't worn it enough to warrant a positive or a negative opinion. Whether it holds on to the makeup, I doubt it. But it's very moisturizing and nourishing and probably will suit that need for me quite well. We're gonna keep that. This one is a very similar story. I actually went through all of the luminescent things, and this is the last one of them. This is Physicians Formula Rosee All Day Oil-Free Serum, and I have used it obviously as a primer. And oftentimes a luminescent primer I will just wear on bare skin on top of SPF, and then I will apply like point conceal with a concealer. So this guy was actually really quite lovely. It does not play well with everything. It has very specific requirements. It will play well with the silicone kinds of foundations. It will not play well with the water-based or oil-based foundations. It will pill if you apply them a little bit too soon. However, there's a peachy, ethereal peachy glow in here that is very, very pretty and does not look like glitter or shimmer on the face, obviously, because I don't tolerate that very well. It's very beautiful, luminescent, non-oily, even says oil-free. There's no oil in there. Non-oily serum and, or I would say primer, and it is looking very beautiful over the skin. If you do combine it with the right products. It can be tricky in general with primers because you just have to know what products play well with each other. Use water-based makeup with water-based primers, oil-based with oil-based, silicone-based with silicone-based. So just find the right match. And if you're just looking at the ingredients, you can tell which ones will go together. So this one I really, really enjoyed, and I might even repurchase because this one is actually pretty well done. There's some that I can scrape from the bottom a little bit, but this is actually probably an empty rather than a declutter. We'll put it back here with the spotlight, which I also emptied, so there might be a trend there. I like a specific kind of a primer, I think. Now let's see, we have a very unique little small size of a primer that is a long wearing primer for me. This is Dew Primer from e.l.f. Jelly Pop collection. I will probably, once I'm done with this one, I will probably buy another one because this is a great long wearing primer because it is very sticky. You apply it to the face, it stays tacky, it just sticks foundation right onto your face and really prolongs the wear of the foundation. So I was quite impressed with that one. If you also fix it up on top with the powder, just bulletproof, at least as much as it's possible. So this e.l.f. Jelly Pop Dew Primer is actually quite lovely and impressed me quite a bit. They do have this lollipop sort of, watermelon lollipop sort of scent to it, which I'm not a huge fan of. I would much rather have it scent free, but also this is quite affordable. I believe the full size of it is like $8. So if you are struggling with dryness and foundation not wearing well or looking cakey, might be your answer. This is really good, and I would wager to say that it's probably good for non-sensitive skin, obviously, because it has fragrance in it. I have sensitive skin, but I'm tolerating this just fine, just so you know. But I'm thinking if you have any skin type but extremely oily, you probably will do well with it. If you have extremely oily skin type, you probably will do well with the oil-absorbing primers a little bit better. But this one is such a gem. What a find. I did try a mini of the Milk Makeup Primer, the Hydro Grip. It basically is the same thing. It does the same kind of thing. I'm not sure about ingredient deck. I didn't compare them, but this is quite lovely. It's very, very useful. So it's gonna stay, and I will probably be purchasing a full size of it sometime soon. Okay, so let's talk about mattifying products. I have two here, one high-end, one low-end, and I don't know which one I like more. So let's start with this one. This is Base Miracle Blur to Go Complexion Blurring Balm. And this is from Lise Watier. I really like the packaging. The hot pink is not usually my thing, but this is soft touch, sort of rubbery, so I kind of enjoy it. It's a rubber packaging with a mirror as well. It's interesting. But it has this balm, the pore erasing balm, kind of similar to Tatcha Silk Canvas, which I did try and really did like. So this is kind of similar. It doesn't have a lot of product. This one has 7.5 grams. I'll use it up. I normally use it just around my nose where I have the pores. I'll keep that one. Again, these are not very full of product, so it probably is not going to take a very long time to get through them. And the other one is the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. This is new to me. I am testing it out. I just barely touched it, as you can tell. And this guy does have a pretty good blurring capacity. I haven't yet tested out enough to know whether I like the wear of it, whether my skin reacts well to it, but it looks like a decent primer. It certainly looks like there's more in the e.l.f. one than in the Lise Watier. So we're going to see which one I like better. Maybe we'll do a bit of a battle of pore smoothing primers. But these are the two pore smoothing primers I have, and both of them are very fresh, very new. I'm just going to go ahead and use them. And I suspect that they're not going to be very long for this world, so keeping both. So we have the last two primers that I have in here, and the rest of them, that I have this little one, the trial size. I'm not really counting it as a primer, I just want to try it out. This is Professional Hydrate Primer, so we'll see what Professional does. One of the pore trials. I usually get minis and try them first before I buy them in full size. So we have two here that are SPF primers. My preferred way to wear SPF is in a primer with some skin benefits, but I have two here and both of them are actually going to be kicked out. This is Sun Smart Universal UV Shield SPF 30 by Lise Watier. I bought this a while ago, actually. I was very happy with this purchase, and the only thing I really resented is that it was only 1 fluid ounce. It was quite expensive for 1 fluid ounce, and I would have liked to have maybe 50 mils instead of 30 mils. This Sun Smart Universal UV Shield was pretty pore smoothing. I enjoyed it. It sat beautifully under most of the makeup that I wore. And that was just overall a very good primer, but it's pretty much done. There's like maybe 1 use left in there, and it probably is expired. Oh no, expiry 2021 April. So not yet expired, but finished. So this one goes in the back there. We're going to declutter it. And the same has to be said for this guy. I usually like a lot of what Bare Minerals has to offer in terms of their product line, but this Bare Minerals Complexion Rescue Defense Radiant Protective Veil was just not good. This is SPF 30, and what I was hoping is something like this, which I can use as a primer plus SPF sort of combo. The texture of this is gross. I did not like it one bit, and I'm getting rid of it. I'm going to pass it on to someone because it's actually quite new, but I was not happy with the texture. The texture of it, it was kind of hard to blend. I was thinking that it was going to be this really beautiful, nice sunscreen that is going to help my makeup maybe go on smoothly, or at least just be a nice texture to go under makeup that I don't mind. It has a major white cast. Like, can you see that? This is so white. This is, I mean, who is this made for? I'm wondering. I thought we were way past having white cast in our sunscreens. We don't need to do that. We have the technology. Why? The white cast, I was not expecting it, and I was super disappointed. It's 50 ml. Says apply 1 to 2 pumps to face and blend into skin. This protective veil creates a radiant finish under or over makeup. What the heck? This is, yes, it's a bit greasy, so I suppose radiant will fit the bill, but this is really not a nice texture. It doesn't slide well or blend into the skin, and it has the dreaded white cast. I mean, I guess you could work with it if you wanted to, but this is very frustrating. I was hoping it was going to be like the Lise Watier, but did not like it. I'm gonna pass it on, see if anybody else might want to try it because it's fairly new, but for me it was a total fail. So bye-bye. So let's talk color correctors because that's what I keep here as well. I have a few color correctors here. The one I'm very interested to start testing more is the Lise Watier portfolio correctors. It has ivory, brown, lilac, beige, and green. So it has pretty much all correctors that would work well for light skin tones, which is what I have. And it does have the whole wheel. The texture is a little bit creamy, but really rather thick, and they're very pigmented. So I'm looking forward to seeing how I like them because it is not a texture that I work with a lot. I'm gonna keep that. Then we have the LA Girl Pro-conceal corrector, which is actually a very, very nice texture. It's liquidy. It does have this brush tip applicator. I suggest you don't use it to apply things to your blemishes because, well, you don't want to contaminate the product. So I normally apply it to the back of my hand and then I pick it up and use it. I obviously don't require a lot of it because I do not have a lot of redness, but I used it fairly consistently to neutralize any red, angry pimples that I did get. Usually it's a hormonal issue. So I do think this is a good product and I do actually recommend it, but it is about 1.5 years old and I have a new green corrector over here. So there's no way for me to use up one of these completely. So I am going to let go of the Pro Conceal from LA Girl. Although I do think it's a good product, it's just a little old. Then we have another corrector, also by Lise Watier, and this is Portfolio. So the same line as the wheel, the color wheel was. In lilac, I believe, lavender. And it is a little stick corrector, which I like and going to try more. I got them at the same time and I'm still not sure what I think of it. So I will keep my hands on it. And I have a few different color correctors here from e.l.f. And what these do is these are color adjusters. I have a dark brown one, I have a red one, and I have a white one. And I think I'm gonna let go of the red and the brown because I've had them for a couple months and haven't used them once. So I don't think those are going to be, particularly useful for me. But I will keep a hold of the white one, which I did actually use, as you can see, and I have some left. But this one is probably the only one that I would be actually likely to wear and mix in with my summer foundations that I want to lighten up for winter. So that one is a keeper. Therefore, I am keeping 3 correctors and getting rid of 3 correctors. That's pretty good. So I have 9 primers, color correctors, and adjusters that are left in this box. Better than it was. I still have a few things that do the same job. For instance, I have 3 illuminating primers and 2 mattifying primers, but the rest of it is pretty consistent and necessary. Okay, I shouldn't say necessary, it's not necessary, but it is more unique and has a specific function. So we'll see what this box looks like in 2021. I intend to use up quite a few of these. So let's see how many we got rid of. I got rid of 7 products in total, primers and color correctors. 4 of those are primers and 3 of those are color correctors. So not quite half, but maybe 40% or so. I'm happy. I don't think I need those things anywhere around. I think I have enough stuff to use, and basically that was a pretty good declutter to me. Everything that I have in my box is the stuff I use or will use, depending on the season, and all the stuff that is over here is either the stuff that ran out or the stuff that I don't use or don't like. So that's it. That's my primer declutter. I really like decluttering. I really like cleaning things out and starting the year with a fresh set of stuff that isn't expired. So we're going to go ahead and continue the series. Now I have done my foundations and primers. Next, we're going to do concealers and brow products. So stay tuned.